morning, everyone, and welcome to RVNTV's Entrepreneur State of Mind. My name is Krista Smolda, and I'm an entrepreneur. And I will tell you that when I first started into entrepreneurship, I was told that I had to create a personal brand. And I was like, what the heck is that? I really wish that I had my guest that's with me today with me at that time, because I kind of was left to figuring it out by myself. I eventually did, but it probably would have been so much easier had I had someone to say, here are the things that you need to do to build your personal brand. I didn't really even know what it meant. So I'm happy to have on my show Robyn Graham, because that is exactly what she does. So anyone that's an entrepreneur that's watching can absolutely benefit from this segment and what she's going to say and from her services. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Krista.
And Robyn is the founder and the principal of Robyn Graham Photography LLC. But you do so much more than just photography, right? I mean, that's what it started out. And we'll talk about that. But what I like to do is I like to have my guests explain how they got to be an entrepreneur. Like, what is your story behind how this all started?
How much time do we have?
We have to be concise.
So to make a long story short, I went to college to become a pharmacist. I got a doctorate degree in pharmacy, and I worked in more of a consulting role for many years in the corporate environment. And 9 years ago, our life became a rat race as our kids got older and we had 3 children. My husband was traveling globally and I was having to travel and, be away for meetings and things like that. And we just looked at each other and thought, this is crazy. And I had always done photography since I was a little girl. And my husband said to me, Rob, why don't you do something with your photography? You love it. You're passionate about it. Why don't you do something with it? And I thought, he's nuts. Like, who is going to accept me as a photographer when I'm this basically scientific-minded career person? And I decided to take that leap. And with his support, we created a blog and I started putting my images out there, which was terrifying for me to, be vulnerable and show the world what I was creating. And then my first client 6 weeks later was a musician and entertainer, and I did her branding photography for her website and her CD cover and things like that. And that just lit me up. I just knew from that moment on, this is what I want to do. I want to create for people in the business world so that I can help them. Yeah. And that was it. The fire was lit.
So what were some of the feelings that you had when you were going to take that leap, right? Like, was it scary? Were you like, I can do this and bold as anything?
The initial emotions I had were complete fear. I'm an introvert. So for me to put myself out there in the public eye was very intimidating. And I've always been kind of behind the scenes. I mean, that's the fact that I'm a photographer. I can hide behind my camera, so to put myself out there, especially in a new, unique way that was completely foreign to my friends and family and how everyone knew me and saw me. And photography is a very competitive space. There's a photographer on every corner nowadays since digital photography, and people can pick up a camera and they get decent pictures. And so they're a photographer. Right. And, so it was kind of intimidating. I was very fearful. Like, can I do this? What if I fail? And that the thought of failure loomed for a long time.
So what were some of the things that helped you combat through that and get to the other side?
Well, my husband was kind of a cheerleader for me. He was always in the corner for me when I was feeling down or low or frustrated or overwhelmed. He always had some form of insight and encouragement. My mom was another one. My friends too, they always, and my sisters. Like, I had a good network of support with my family and friends. And then as I started doing things, like when I worked with that first client and she loved what I did for her and she started sharing me, then every step and every person I worked with, every step I took and every person I worked with helped build that confidence. Yeah. And even though still today, I know that I take really good pictures and I know I always please people with my work, but there's still that imposter syndrome. Like, this isn't where I started. I didn't go to college and get an art degree. I'm self-taught for the most part. Every day I learn something new. But so those thoughts still creep in periodically,
Mhm.
but for the most part, it was just taking one step at a time and kind of pushing all those emotions of fear and intimidation and things like that to the side and making myself push ahead.
Making yourself do it. Or
Yeah,
having others make you do it too sometimes. Right?
exactly. Yeah. And, I have a daughter. And so for me to be able to show her that I can do this is really important to me. Like
Mhm.
for her to have that inspiration to then someday do exactly what she wants to do and follow her heart. I think it's a good example for her.
It totally is. It totally is. And it's interesting. You said I love photography since I'm a little girl, and a lot of the exercises you go through in entrepreneurship are like, what did you love to do when you were little? And that's what it all comes down to. You spent a long time developing a brand of being the scientist, science minded, right?
Yeah.
It's going to take some time to build the brand of something different.
Yeah.
Maybe just different when you're post 40.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. The world's different post 40, right?
It is post kids, post
Yeah.
40. So how is your life different now? So you're an entrepreneur. You have your own business. It's going well. I'm sure there's peaks and valleys, but from where you were before in the rat race, remember that time, and to where you are now, how is it different?
It's a different kind of rat race.
Okay, let's get into that.
No, in all seriousness, I have to tell you, because I'm so passionate about what I do and it gives me such joy, there's never a day of work. It's not like I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to work today. There are days that I think, oh, I'd love to just take the whole day off.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen because even on the weekends as an entrepreneur, I have all the back end stuff I have to do too. And I have to create content to be able to create that awareness and connection for my brand. But the fact of the matter is I work on my own terms. And that's a really critical component, I think, to having a good, if there is such a thing as balance, this is good for me with our family life. My husband travels a lot. He's global, and he's corporate. So there's a lot of demands on him. So that family stuff is really on me. And it's very important to me to be hands-on and to be there for my kids. And this enables me to do that. So to combine my values and my visions for myself, but then also have the ability to fuel my passion is what I think makes this so much nicer and gives me so much more joy than being in the trenches and working for other people, even as a consultant.
Yeah. Do you think that being an entrepreneur is easier or harder than working a 9-to-5 job?
It's harder.
Harder.
I think it's harder. I think there are more opportunities for joy and to exhibit your own creativity and fuel your passions, but you don't have anyone watching over you. You don't have anyone putting money in a 401k for you. You don't have anyone doing the bills for you or, managing the finances and the books and all of that. It's you. You're solo.
Yeah. It's harder. I like people to get reality checks when it comes to entrepreneurship. Okay, so yes or no? Are you happier now than you were then?
Way happier now. Yes.
Okay. And
yes.
that really, at the end of the day, is what's most important.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to really get into your business and what you do and the value you provide to your clients. Okay?
Awesome.
So we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
People of any industry to share their story. Over 285,000 viewers are tuning in to RVNTV shows monthly. We guarantee a great experience that you'll be sharing with everyone you know while increasing your personal and company's brand awareness. But what is your brand? According to Forbes, it's a combination of your logo, your product, your design and feel, and your personality. Did you know that aside from being a guest, we offer even more opportunity to boost your brand? Adding your company logo and website on screen during your interview will allow viewers to recognize your brand instantly. Incorporating images and video clips is another great way to showcase your product during your live segment. Let viewers see how good you really are. And most importantly, there's you and your interview. For less than the cost of a newspaper, direct mail, or a magazine ad, you can leave our studio and within 48 hours have a permanent digital copy of your live segment to link to your social media, embed into your company website, or use in email marketing. Investing in your brand is so very important, and we can't wait to have you as a guest.
Shelter dogs aren't broken. They've simply experienced more life. If they were human, we would call them wise. They would be the ones with tales to tell and stories to write. The ones dealt a bad hand who responded with courage. Do not pity a shelter dog. Adopt one.
Say we've got grit, and we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
Add us on social media to watch bloopers, behind the scenes footage, previews, and more.
I work 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. So when I'm off the clock, I gotta get stuff done. So when I need a snack, I need something healthy, tasty, and easy to eat. Like wonderful pistachios without the shells. They're protein-powered, delicious, and great on the go. And that's perfect for me. Thanks, Liz. A woman without a lot of time.
Whether you're a gourmet cook or just want to eat like one, visit Rostelli Market Fresh, your home for the freshest, locally sourced ingredients to please everyone who loves great food. Our organic meats, quality seafood, and free-range poultry are cut fresh to order. Chefs create culinary-inspired prep foods made fresh every day, which pair nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits. Choose from handmade pastas, artisan cheeses, organic produce, and grocery items, all from the finest purveyors. Rostelli Market Fresh, from our family to yours.
RVNTV is a platform for people of any industry to share their story. Over 285,000 viewers are tuning in to RVNTV shows monthly. We guarantee a great experience that you'll be sharing with everyone you know while increasing your personal and company's brand awareness. But what is your brand? According to Forbes, it's a combination of your logo, your product, your design and feel, and your personality. Did you know that aside from being a guest, we offer even more opportunity to boost your brand? Adding your company logo and website on screen during your interview will allow viewers to recognize your brand instantly. Incorporating images and video clips is another great way to showcase your product during your live segment. Let viewers see how good you really are. And most importantly, there's you and your interview. For less than the cost of a newspaper, direct mail, or a magazine ad, you can leave our studio and within 48 hours have a permanent digital copy of your live segment to link to your social media, embed into your company website, or use in email marketing. Investing in your brand is so very important, and we can't wait to have you as a guest.
Shelter dogs aren't broken. They've simply experienced more life. If they were human, we would call them wise. They would be the ones with tales to tell and stories to write. The ones dealt a bad hand who responded with courage. Do not pity a shelter dog. Adopt one.
Say we've got grit.
Welcome back to Entrepreneur State of Mind. I'm Krista Smolda here with Robyn Gran, and now we're going to talk exactly about what you do. We got into entrepreneurship and how you kind of took that leap, and I admire you so much. I admire your husband too for encouraging you to do that, but actually taking that leap. You know, you went from being a person that was anxious and, you know, in front of speaking in front of people, weren't, you know, comfortable being out there in the public eye, and you know, as an entrepreneur, and from a personal branding perspective, you have to do it. And you did it. And there's a lot of people that don't. And they just go, you know what, I'm going to go back. So Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now let's talk about Robyn Graham Photography. We just saw a short clip about what you do, but I want to hear it live. Tell us exactly what you do and what you provide to people.
So there's multiple levels to what I provide. The first and foremost is if we take it step by step in terms of levels of service. I do professional headshots because even in the corporate world, people have a personal brand. And a professional headshot is your introduction to the world from a digital perspective. And so if you are on LinkedIn, you absolutely need a professional headshot.
Yes.
And that's because recruiters, other employers, even higher ups within your own company, if you're looking to grow and be promoted someday, all of those people are going to be looking at your LinkedIn profile and they're going to be checking to see if you care enough about quality to have a professional headshot.
Yes.
So that's number one. Number two is I do personal branding photo shoots, where I work with entrepreneurs, small business owners, and we do visual content for websites and for social media and any type of content that you're putting out into the world. And the key for that is that people need to be able to recognize you. You need to be recognizable, memorable, and shareable. And one way to do that is through visual content, so that people will make an emotional connection with your eyes and smile. So we want to make sure that you're front and center in your business.
Yes.
And
I
then
have a question about that.
Yes, go right ahead.
So when you say like a photo shoot, is it multiple outfits? Is it one day? Is it ongoing that you're taking these pictures?
Most of the time it's one day, and we do multiple outfits in that day, and we'll do some different locations or different scenarios. So we'll start with like in studio, where I'll set up a mock desk and we'll have accessories, we'll have computers, books, any type of tool or gadget that the person uses to do what they do. We'll incorporate all of that. We incorporate brand colors. We incorporate, basically anything about them that tells their story of their business and their personality infused into their business.
Okay. About how many pictures am I going to come away with that session?
And for the first level session, it's about 20.
Oh, okay.
And then I encourage people to come back every quarter. And so I have it set up so that you can buy packages that include like one shoot per quarter.
Oh,
and then you get, at least 20, 25 or so images per quarter.
Yeah.
And then that's like a year's worth. And then, or you can come and you can get a full-blown branding session with a consultation in terms of how to use the images. And, and that includes like ideas for social media posts, where to put the images on your website, how to use them to get the most value out of your visual content. And with that level of a shoot, you actually leave with somewhere between 50 and 60 images.
Okay.
And they're all edited so that you get images that are social media and website ready, which is very important.
Yes.
And then our next level is the Brand Insider program. And in the Brand Insider program, we include that higher tier of branded shoot. And then we also have 2 tiers within that, where we have one tier that we create copy, we create a video, we create social media content, and we create the visual content. And then I guide you on how to build your personal brand online, and then what content to include on your website. And then the next level is where we actually take your brand and build it from the ground up. So even if you're rebranding, we'll rebrand you completely with logo, website design, videography, the social media content, and then the visual content through the photo shoot as well.
Awesome. So a brand is basically those 5 components that you just said.
Yeah,
it's not
you need
just having a picture.
It's not just your logo, and it's not just a headshot. Your brand, the components of your brand are your logo, your mission statement. It's your personality being infused into your brand. It's the content that you create and what you put out there. And then from those things, building on that emotional connection that you're making with your ideal audience or your ideal clients.
Yeah. Do you see people doing things wrong in the personal branding arena, like that aren't using you? Like, what are some mistakes that people make when trying to brand themselves on their own?
There's a lot of mistakes that people make, and one of the biggest ones that I see is that people will see an influencer doing what they want to do, and they'll try to mimic them, and that's going to get them nowhere, because you have to create an emotional connection. People have to know you, like you, and trust you in order to buy from you, because people don't buy products and services, people buy personality. And so in order to achieve a large client base and to maintain a referral source, you've got to get to know your clients and get them to trust you, or they're not going to refer you. And so I see that a lot, where people are just putting out content, they're putting out quotes, or they're putting out stock photography, but their audience isn't able to connect with them because they're not seeing who they are.
Right, right. So you became an entrepreneur and had to personally brand yourself, right?
Yeah, I did.
So did you find that you did that first, or did you do it with your clients first and then think, man, I should be doing this for myself? Like,
I did it for my clients first. And then I thought, I read a book, actually. The book was called, it's got a bad word kind of.
No, go ahead.
It's called Badass Your Brand by Pia Silva.
Okay.
And
Badass Your Brand by Pia Silva. Okay.
Yes. And that book really kind of changed the scope of my business, because before I knew that I was really focused on branding. I knew that I loved to do headshots because I loved to have that interaction with business people and corporate people. It kind of fueled both sides of my brain, and my background. But I was still doing like all these other things when people called me or asked me to do it. And so there were distractions, and I didn't have that identifying factor that people were really understanding what it was I was doing.
Yes.
And so that book really made me, or pushed me, I should say, niche down and really focus only on branding and headshots. And so all of my content over the past few years has changed to focus on those things. And I'm sharing all this valuable information for free so people can learn what I've learned and what I did wrong by not niching down and then being the face of my brand. I was hiding behind my camera, which is so easy to do. You know, most people hide behind their businesses. I was hiding behind both my business and my camera.
Right. So did you see, when you read that book and you were able to make that shift and really brand yourself, niche down like you were saying, I want to talk about that too, what that means. Did you see a lift in your business?
100%. I did, yeah. And here's why. It's because people could identify with what I was doing and who I was. Before, I wasn't putting myself out there. I thought, oh, if I post pretty pictures, people will know I'm a good photographer. But the reality is they need to know me first and foremost, or they're not going to hire me. And I always had this policy that I didn't book by email. I always wanted to have a conversation first, because I believed that if I had that conversation, people would connect with me and they'd want to work with me no matter if my price was higher or not. And that did make a difference in my business overall. But then once I really started communicating exactly what I do and I became present, that's when things shifted.
Okay, so do you think, because you just said something interesting, I always want to talk to people too. Right, like I know if I can get them on the phone, we're gonna you'd probably go to that next step, and we're gonna do business. Did you find that once you put the message out clearly that you didn't have to do that as much, like that booking by an email was enough, or did you still want to have that conversation?
I still want to have that conversation, because now I'm set up. You know, my business has become a lot more time efficient and savvy on the back end, and so people can schedule or send me an email, you know, on my website, or they can schedule a call with me. And even if they send me an email and it's an inquiry about a headshot, I don't book that going back and forth on email. I want to get them on the phone. I want to understand exactly what their needs are from me, make sure I can provide for them, and then also schedule right then and there versus going back and forth and having emails lost in the shuffle or confusion of, oh, I thought you said this date, but you said that, you know. So to me, I like just making that personal connection. Right.
And as an entrepreneur, if you offer more than one service, obviously talking to someone is going to uncover the potential need for some other services when they think they don't need that. Maybe you can encourage them that they do.
And I have had people call for a headshot and then they end up with a full branding session
after
because they realize, oh yeah, I do need more than just a headshot on my website, or I do need more than just one picture to be present on social media.
And that all comes from picking up the phone and speaking to people. Can we please stop just emailing and texting? And oh my gosh, it drives me crazy. Okay, so we're actually out of time, believe it or not.
Oh, it goes so fast.
I know. So I want you to tell people how they can connect with you and have a conversation with you. Just look into that camera and let us know where we can find you.
All right. So the easiest way to reach me is through my website, which is www.robyngrahamphotography.com. Go to the contact page and you can either send an email or you can access my calendar and connect with me by phone. You can also find me on Instagram at the Robyn Graham. You can find me on Facebook, Robyn Graham Photography, LinkedIn, Robyn Graham, and on Twitter at the Robyn Graham as well. So I look forward to connecting with all of you.
Robyn Graham, Robyn Graham, Robyn Graham. If you didn't get it, then I don't know who will. Thank you so much for coming on. And I just want to stress again the importance of personal branding. There's so much out there. There's so much out there. And you've got to do something to differentiate yourself and infuse your personality into your brand. Because we could all have a brand, but if it's not you, like you said, it's no good.
Right, exactly.
Right? And you're going to attract the people that you want to do business with too, with your
It
personality.
saves so much headache too
Yes.
when you're focusing your energy on the right client.
Yeah. It's not going to be hard when the right person arrives. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Krista.
Okay, and stay tuned because we'll be back with more RVN TV.